What's up guys, welcome to another video. Today, I'm switching gears a little bit, changing it up, you know? Can't always come with the fastball, gotta switch it up every once in a while. So, today we're doing dessert. We're doing some pound cake, a little bit of buttercream, and some chocolate ganache. So why am I adding buttercream and chocolate ganache to this? Well, long story short, whenever my grandma would make this pound cake for my granddad and my mom, he would always slather this pound cake in more butter. This thing already has a solid pound of butter in it, and he would take a solid scoop, solid knifeful, whatever you want to call, just slather this piece of pound cake in butter. Now I'm not one to judge, but now I'm not gonna lie, while this is delicious, I think we can do it a little better. So it's a little homage to him. I thought I'd take this a little culinary step further and make some buttercream to put on this. And so I'm gonna frost this in buttercream. I think it's gonna be delicious, nice, rich, just a little more elegant than just some straight butter on there. I'm also gonna balance this whole thing out with a little bit of chocolate ganache. And the reasoning is I'm using unsweetened chocolate. And the whole reason is I think the bitterness of it will kind of balance out all the sweetness we got going on. But anyway, I think it's time to start cooking, so let's get into it.
To start off this borderline over-the-top cake, we gotta start with some easy prep. Grab some all-purpose flour and measure out 4 cups. Continue your unintentional running joke by realizing you need a bigger bowl, so quickly switch that out, finish measuring your flour, and set aside for later. From here, measure out 3 cups of cane sugar. I didn't have quite enough, so I added half a cup of brown sugar to get 3 cups. Not really important, just wanted to explain the brown color on top of the sugar. Useless info aside, place the sugar aside and start cracking 6 eggs into a bowl. You can crack these eggs straight into your stand mixer bowl later, but cracking them now ensures no eggshells end up in our cake. Once all your eggs are cracked, place that bowl aside and measure out 3/4 a cup of milk. Now it's time to show you guys why they call it a pound cake. That's right, this thing has a pound of butter in it. The butter needs to be softened, so take your butter out of the fridge 30 or so minutes before you start cooking. Cut all 4 sticks into cubes for easier butter incorporation later on. With the cake prep done, toss your butter into the bowl of a stand mixer and mix your butter for anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes. We are trying to whip some air into this butter to soften it. Once you see your butter has become a pale yellow, start slowly adding your sugar. You don't need to go super slow with this one. Once you see that your sugar is fully incorporated into your butter, go ahead and add more sugar. Repeat until all of your sugar is incorporated. Give the sides of your bowl a quick scrape and start adding in your eggs 1 yolk at a time. Treat adding the eggs just like we added the sugar. Once 1 egg is fully incorporated and there are no streaks of egg in your batter, add another egg. Continue this process until you are out of eggs. Now to finish this batter by adding 1/4 of your total flour. Once fully mixed, add 1/3 of your total milk. The goal here is to alternate adding flour and milk, but we want to start and end with flour. Make sure you set up your mixer on a low speed or you might end up doing this. After adding all of your flour and milk, take your baking vessel and coat it generously with butter or shortening. Take your time with this. Make sure every surface is coated. You don't want to bake a beautiful cake and have it stick to your pan. A stuck cake spells certain heartbreak for any baker. Once your pan is coated, add in all of your batter, but only after you've saved the mixing paddle as a little snack for yourself. Seriously, this batter is a liquid gold and borderline better than the cake it transforms into. Smooth everything out and wipe down the sides to ensure no weird burnt cake bits show up on the top of your cake. Now place your cake into a 300-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. Personally, I always start checking my cake at 1 hour. Once you can stick a cake tester into your cake and have it come out clean, your cake is done. With the cake in the oven, go ahead and grab a whole 2 more pounds of butter because we clearly don't have enough butter for this recipe. Cut all this butter into cubes, place into a giant bowl and place aside for later. Now I didn't film it because I'm an idiot, but add 120 milliliters of water and 454 grams, aka 1 pound of sugar into a pot and bring the mixture to a boil. We want to get this sugar to 240 degrees Fahrenheit exactly. While the sugar boils, quickly crack and separate 8 yolks from their whites. Take those egg whites and add them to the bowl of a stand mixer and whip these eggs over a medium to medium-high speed. This will take a minute or 2, but once your eggs are whipped into soft peaks, stop mixing. Once your sugar registers 240 degrees Fahrenheit, start slowly adding this sugar-water combo into your eggs. Take your time on this step. This sugar needs to be fully mixed with your eggs, so making sure you go slow will help create a perfect buttercream. If you aren't confident in your multitasking abilities, you can always whip the egg whites first, then start melting your sugar. After adding your sugar, we have to wait for our mixture to cool down. If If we add our butter to this hot mix now, all of our butter will melt, so wait until your eggs have cooled to start adding your butter. When your eggs have cooled to about room temp, start adding your butter. Just like our previously mentioned sugar mix, take your time adding your softened butter. This mix will seem really loose at first, but keep adding butter and mixing and you will eventually create a substance that is stiff, rich, and delicious. To complete our decadent dessert trio, take 16 ounces of heavy cream and heat it up over medium to medium-high heat. Once our cream heats up, toss 2 pounds of dark chocolate into a bowl. I'm using 63% cacao chocolate for this. If you want to use a chocolate with a higher percent, go ahead, but I wouldn't recommend anything under 60 solely because it'll make this already insanely sweet cake even sweeter. This may be a dessert, but even desserts can be too sweet and they need to be balanced. Add your heated cream to your chocolate and start stirring. We are trying to use the heat from the cream to melt the chocolate. If your chocolate doesn't fully melt, heat up a little more cream and add to your chocolate. Keep melting and mixing until you end up with a smooth and luxurious chocolate ganache. By now your cake should be done, so take it out of the oven and, after consulting the Pound Cake Grandmaster, aka my mom, run a knife around the edge of your cake to ensure the cake releases from your tray. Flip it over and desperately try to grab the pan and fail not just once, but twice. Finally, free your cake and allow it to cool completely. If you cut into your cake before it's cooled, you'll completely destroy the texture of your cake. So I'm not gonna lie, I've never frosted a cake before and I ended up making something that looks closer to a 3-year-old's mud pie he made outside. But when I know a cake is going to be as delicious as this, looks don't necessarily matter. So while you beautiful folks watch me attempt to frost this cake, I might as well tell you about my Instagram and my Facebook, @TheCulinaryCult on both. Follow them for extra bonus content as well as updates on when I'm posting my videos. A follow on either really helps me out, so please go check them out.
I mean, you already know this one's gonna taste good. Do I even really need to give my thoughts? Your boy has done it again, baby. It's very cakey. I mean, of course, it's cake. That chocolate adds a really nice dark bitterness that complements the buttercream really well. It's a very rich dish. I don't think I'd be able to get through more than a slice, but it's the perfect dish for any party, any get together, anything you want. Heck, maybe you just want to surprise the family with something a little nice for dinner.
So I already had an outro for this video recorded, but I felt like I didn't do this dish justice. I've never been the sentimental type, but to those of you who make this cake for yourself, you may not find yourself at the gates of culinary heaven, but you sure as hell will get a glimpse into one of the very first dishes I ever made. While this may only be a pound cake to you, to me this dish will always remind me of all the times I've shared cooking with my mom. To me, this dish represents my family, all the love I was privileged to while growing up, and this dish marks the beginning of the culinary journey of yours truly. To you, this may just be another recipe, but to me, this means a whole lot more.